Welcome everyone, this is Anna from Casa, Salentina. Today we're going to talk about why people are moving to Italy. We're going to talk about the housing bubble, especially here in Australia at the moment. We're going to show you some graphs with the house pricing indexes. We're going to show you what you can get here in Australia compared to Italy. The differences with the house price medians at the moment, like here in Sydney, for example, it's $1.1 million. We're going to talk about how people have just been priced out of the market. And we're going to just give you some examples of like Sydney to Melbourne and Calabria to Puglia, what you can get, how much you're paying per square metre in Italy for a home in the south, in comparison to the south here, which is Sydney and Melbourne. We're also going to talk about what's really, really dear to my heart, and that is how our children are priced out of the market. They can't afford to buy property here in Australia anymore, or investment properties. So we know that it's also happening in Britain, it's happening in Canada, America. I mean, it's happening all over the world. So we know that the lifestyle, the culture, is just heavenly in Italy as well, and we're going to compare that with here in Australia because that's where we are at the moment. We also would like to cover what is needed to move to Italy and who can move to Italy, because obviously you need to have dual citizenship or visas in place and so forth. So join us today as we discuss these important topics. And let me quickly say thank you to all of you that watched our All About Apulia and downloaded the ebook. It is still available, the ebook. We'll have the link in the description again this week. Thank you for your comments, thank you for your messages and your emails, and I'm glad it's really helped a lot of you. So before we start, the reason for putting this vlog together was that this month I've had the most insightful conversations with people aged in the 30 to 40 year life stage, which rings home to me as my son and a lot of his friends are in that age group. And I put this table together that shows our life stages and where we're at in each life stage, and hopefully this is helpful to you. And just take a moment to think about what your current phase is. Are you where you want to be? You know, what stage of life are you in? What are your current goals, and how do you make the most of your time? And just remember that life does creep up on us, and we're always wanting our dreams to come true, but we've got to make that first step. And I hope this vlog showing the difference in life between Australia and other countries compared to Italy, for those who are thinking of moving or renting or, you know, getting dual citizenship, resonates with them and helps them to put yourself in a clearer path to make those decisions. And here we go. I'm going to go through some notes of some of the topics that we're going to cover today. So we're going to compare the cost of living between Australia and some of the cities compared to Italy, especially in the south, where we lived there for 4 months, and where we'll be again in a few months' time again. We're going to discuss obviously the Italian lifestyle and the cuisine, because it's just so different to here in Australia, even though we have so many different migrants that have come over the years and introduced their food. It's still different because we just don't have that 0 kilometre access here when you're living in the metropolitan areas near the cities here in Australia. And we're also going to speak about the generation that's being impacted at the moment and that just cannot afford housing here in Australia. And obviously, if you could, do you want to spend the rest of your life between the ages of 35 and 75 paying off these large mortgages and stressed out making sure you keep your job, or some have 2 to 3 jobs in order to keep their homes, their mortgages, and then you've still got to live, you've still got bills to pay, and you know, it's just not a life. It's very, very stressful. And obviously the quality of life. So, you know, the healthcare in each country. We know the healthcare in America is very different to here in Australia. And the healthcare in Italy, how good it is for those that are moving there and becoming residents in Italy. And also just what people are looking for, you know, like urban Australia to country Italy, or historic centre living in Italy, or just plain suburbia. And we're going to show you the cost of living, well, not so much cost of living, but the buying property and the price per square metre starting from the north of Italy all the way down to the south. So there is a graph here that shows you, and then it shows you a general one in the middle there, Italy, which is just sort of an average. We also like to explore the reasons why so many are moving to Italy. And in Europe in general, like there's been so many also that have moved to Portugal, Spain and Greece. And here are just a couple of graphs that are going to show you the house prices indices, and you'll just see in comparison like Greece, Spain to Italy. So it's still early days for Italy, but you can see that it is also increasing. And here is the Australian one, which you can see the bubble that we are in here and why it is so expensive, not just to buy houses, but just the cost of living itself. Now here are some examples of houses here in Australia. We're going to compare Sydney prices to Melbourne. The same square metre, the same amount of rooms, bathrooms, and you'll see the price difference just from state to state here, which is the same if you were in Italy, if you were in the north compared to the south. You see the difference in prices, as you saw price per square metre earlier on, which we'll just insert it here again. Changes also in Italy from north to south. Now here are some homes in the south. We're just comparing Calabria, for example, to Puglia, which is where we bought our home. And you can see, like, once again, the price, and it's in euro. You'll have to convert it to your own currency. And if we're talking Australian dollar, if we're talking currencies, anyone that knows, the Australian currency has just been doing nothing but going down, down and down. Lights are on, just in case you're wondering. I was in the dark, I forgot to turn the lights on. Now, the reason we put this vlog together is basically because in the last 2 weeks I've had 3 sets of couples, all in their early 40s, that are in this predicament where they just cannot buy, where they're renting, and the rental here is expensive as well, and they're trying to get into the market or just trying to get some sort of asset so their money's just not dwindling away, because as you saw, the Australian currency just keeps going down. So my suggestion was that, you know, buy something that you can afford, perhaps not in the place that you want, and then you rent where you do want, which is what they call rent invest. But they still can't simply do that, because you cannot purchase anything under 500,000 here in Australia, and if you do, you're going to be a fair way out of the metropolitan area where you need to travel to work and schools and so forth. Now, if you invest overseas, there are conditions. As I said, if you don't have dual citizenship, you need a visa, and there are so many visas you can apply for. You need to be a resident also. So there are different, if you don't have dual citizenship or residency or a visa, it is difficult to invest overseas. But if you do, or if you're thinking of obtaining Italian dual citizenship, or if your country's Spain, Spanish or Greece, so forth, I think it's a great idea. It's a great alternative to have at least an investment property there, and at least when you do go visit, you have a holiday spot. And maybe one day when you decide that you want to finally move over or retire, you do. There are many people now in their 40s and early 50s that are actually doing that. They're actually moved. They've just gone. They've gone AWOL. They've left. So it's another thing to think about. It is a big decision. It is a big move to pack up and leave and go. And that's where we're sort of heading. We're sort of thinking within a couple of years, that's where we may want to go. And that's actually what we're trying to do at the moment, just with, for example, my son, who does have Italian citizenship. I feel that it's probably in his best interest to actually get into the real estate market and perhaps even rent it out so it's an investment property for him. And if ever one day he should actually go there and decide that he wants to retire or stay 3-4 months of the year, he will have that home there for him, and he will save money obviously in accommodation when he's over there. And it's not just the housing affordability, it is also the food. The cost of living in Italy is far less than where we are here in Australia, especially in the Sydney area. And if you know Australia, Sydney is in New South Wales, and it is the most populated state or province that people may call in Italy, region in Australia. At least he'll have a foot in the door, but that's what we are discussing. So that's how close to home it is to buy property at the moment, even if it is just for an investment purpose, to get the foot in the door. And seeing where the Italian housing market is going at the moment, as you'll see with this insert again, just to remind you, it's probably a good time to get in now. So anyone that is in that position or thinking of buying, or you're there, it's probably a really good time that you're doing that, because you can see that prices have risen since 2022, since we bought our home. And so it was a great decision for us. With house prices in Sydney skyrocketing, more and more young Australians are finding hope in affordability overseas in European markets such as Italy or Spain or Portugal. So whether it's for an investment or lifestyle, see why Italy is becoming the latest trend among many people. Moving to Italy is also about the cost of living, and coupled with that rich cultural experience, that's what's drawing a lot of us to the south, and that's what drew Michael and I to the south. And you're finding affordability there, which means more in your pocket for everyday living, like just food. And that's what makes Italy irresistible for seeking a fresh start. It's the lower cost of living, it's the affordable homes, it's that culture, it's that heritage, it's that history, it's just that lifestyle that they have, the slow living, as opposed to our fast living here in urban Sydney. So I do hope that we've put some thought in your minds, and think about the next generation, the children, the grandchildren, and what's in store for them, especially for those that are doing it tough now with the house prices in Sydney skyrocketing as they are. Now remember, if you are thinking of buying in Italy, the first thing you want to apply for is the Codice Fiscale, and you will need this to purchase a home and big items. A lot of places may ask for it when you're there. It's sort of like a tax file number, and if you do apply for it and you do have it, you are not going to be charged tax from the day you receive this. You need to buy a house, or you need to actually be there to have the tax applied, so have no fear about that. Some regions and some embassies, or consulates I should say, may ask for proof of purchase. Others, you can just get it online. You'll have it within 3 to 5 days, depending on your region. I've heard some people take 2 weeks. So it is important to get that document. And we had ours probably for a year prior to buying our home. So we've had no problems with our taxes. People are always afraid of the taxes and the expenses there. Yes, the fuel's expensive there. Certain regions have their electricity and gas expensive, but generally the cost of living and the healthcare just makes up for all of it. So if you're worried about that, even the cost of, you know, going to the supermarket, or, you know, let's talk about cups of coffee. Now, I don't drink coffee, but Michael does. To go to a cafe these days, you can get a coffee for almost $6 or more here. And I believe the most we ever paid in Italy was, I think, €2 in the city. I think that was the most we paid. So it just shows you, and I think €2 might be like equivalent to $3 here in Australia at the moment with the conversion. So there are things to sort of think about. You've got to think about, and if you're in our age group in the 60s and you're thinking of retiring, you want your money to go further, obviously for us, that's why we're thinking of Italy. And we're thinking sooner than later. We had a 2 to 5 year plan at the beginning of 2024. So obviously that's narrowing down, and we're thinking even sooner. So it's just something to think about. Think about what you're doing, and the generation that is coming. You know, I think of my son. I just think of that next generation. And I hope this has been insightful to you. If you have anything further to add to it, please pop in below in the comments and just let us know. Please like and subscribe.
Hi guys, I'm just jumping in here to join my lovely wife. She's almost taller than me. I'm not sure what's going on there.
It's all the stretching and exercising and the detoxing I've been doing. I've grown.
She's growing and I'm shrinking.
It's just the way the lounge, I'm sitting on the top part of the lounge.
So I am still here. I'm just doing the behind the scenes stuff. I'm getting some of these properties for you to have a look at that you may have seen already or you're going to see shortly in, you know, Sydney, Melbourne, whatever. And the behind the scenes post production, that's sort of me doing that as well.
Yes. And what's your thoughts on that? Moving to Italy or here in Australia for children?
Definitely a better idea moving there. It's just the lifestyle.
No, but for those that can't move, you know, and the kids having work here and that sort of thing.
Buying over there and
like investment wise,
just investing. If you're allowed to do it and you can, invest over there for sure, because you can't afford it in Australia anymore. It's just as you'll see,
and Britain and as I said, all the other continents.
That's right.
There.
It's not just here.
Yeah, if you find, you know, it may not be Italy. It could be Portugal, as I said, or Spain, or it could be
getting priced out of the market.
Yes. Yeah. So if you were thinking of it. You know, sit down, have the discussion.
Yeah,
sit down with your peers, with your parents, with your grandparents, whatever it is you need to sit down and talk with, and you know, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. And
that's right.
And I don't believe there is ever a failure if you think it doesn't work out and it wasn't for you. Well, pack bags, come back home, and try again. You never know.
There's
you never know
options.
Until you try. There is always options. So you know, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. It's a new year. It's 2025.
It is.
And it's time to move forward.
That's right, move forward. So I'll leave you again with Anna here.
I think I've done my piece.
You've done your piece?
Yes, I think I've spoken enough.
Okay.
We'll see you next week.
Ciao for now.